Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are live from Mindset Monday. And on this Mindset Monday, we're going to go over a couple things that I think people need to know and be aware of, right? So everyone gets so caught up in the day-to-day life and trying to build a company, trying to build a family, trying to build a business, trying to build yourself. All right. And everyone knows like how much the cost of everything has risen the last couple of years, right? That's not a shock to anybody. Um, and it seems like every other day there's something in the news cycle to distract us, right? And that's all by design, guys. You know, when people have to fight and struggle just to put food on the table, when people have to, um, you know, take an excess amount of their time and dedicate it to problems and distractions or just living, it's very hard to look up and see the forest through the trees, right? You ever hear that expression, see the forest through the trees? Well, again, it's all by design. And so every once in a while, you have to actually look and see what's going on, why things are happening. Okay. We have a company called BlackRock that legitimately manage, I think it's like 17 or $18 trillion as assets under management. And by the way, they have like an AI algorithm called Aladdin, okay, that's doing that. And Aladdin can move markets like that, okay? That's how much money and wealth they have. And if you look at the how much that is, to give you like a example, it's larger than like 90% of the country's GDP in the world, gross domestic production. Okay, that means they manage more than 90% of the countries produce in total. Just think about that. And so, while most people think that the average millionaire is the problem, okay, or the average millionaire is greedy, or the average millionaire is the ones that are causing all this chaos. That's what they'd like you to believe. Okay. The reality is the average millionaire has nothing compared to these guys. All right. And the guys at the top, there's probably, I would say, 1 to 2,000 people, okay, that have significant net worth, okay, that make these decisions that bleed down to us and cause chaos and division. And the reason they do that is because when people are arguing with each other and when people are divided, okay, it creates a much easier situation for them to control. Okay. The easiest and most glaring example of this is politics. Are you Democrat or are you Republican? And the reality of it is 90% of us all want the same thing. We want good schools for our kids. We want it to be safe. We want, peace. Okay. We want to be able to work 40, maybe 50 hours a week and live a good life. Okay. And the policies that these guys set make that very, very difficult for us. And so we can't see the forest through the trees. All right. And the best example of this is just going on the World Economic Forum website. Okay. I post about this a lot. It's actually why my shit gets shadow banned a lot. And there are a few members that have to highlight here, right? The first and the most obvious, the guy David Fink, he runs BlackRock. He was just tasked or tabbed to be the head of the World Economic Forum. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Anybody that is on the World Economic Forum roster that is a politician should absolutely be ripped out of office and tried for treason on the spot. Okay? Because they are putting in World Economic Forum policies, not policies that are good for the people who they're supposed to represent. All right. Another one is Bill Gates. Okay. People don't realize because the information is not readily available. He was a big driver behind the COVID vaccines. He is the one that started the lab grown meat. Okay. He has bought more farmland in the US than anybody. Okay. And he has that, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's way more, way more shit, but you got to really dig deep. Okay. He's obviously been to Epstein Island a lot. Okay. And he has that fruit spraying company called Appeal. Okay. That is actually banned in most places. It's legitimately poison, right? Like, I had to give my wife a list of places where she can actually buy produce and where she can't. And when we can, we try to get it at the farm, right? Or local, but that's very, very hard to do. So you have to be very careful where you shop because of these people. And it's not so much they're trying to kill you in one shot, they're just trying to kill you over time, get you sick, and weaken you. And the big thing about the World Economic Agenda is they want to depopulate the planet. When they talk about depopulating the planet, they're talking about me and you. They're not talking about them, guys. Okay. And in the past, they were, they did it slowly. Now, because of AI and robotics, they're going to speed this shit up. If you think I'm crazy, that's fine. But why don't you just do a little bit of research? The stuff's on the website. All the other stuff you can find in other sources. And you're probably not, I wouldn't put it in Google, right? If you think of just who Bill Gates is and he owns Microsoft, understand that he can control a considerable amount of information that most other people will never get access to. All right. Dave, what are your thoughts on some of these things?
Yeah, I mean, you and I were talking about before about information, where to get it. Probably X is the best place, right? Like, just to throw it out there. Sure. Why? Well, why is that? Number one, it's open, but it also creates a lot of chaos, I'm sure, as well.
It does.
Right. So I also think that you gotta take it with a grain of salt, everything, like who's who and what's what, because I'm sure you're gonna have millions of point of views. So you got to be on the lookout as to what's true and what's horseshit. But as far as Jonathan, talking about everything else with Larry Fink and even
Larry Fink. Sorry, Larry Fink.
No, you go, bro. And with the World Economic Forum, I know you're just thinking of me. That's why you said Dave. So, but anyway, if you guys do look at the World Economic Forum, just on the surface, right? Like, I'll give you an example right here. Like, they have Larry Fink in here. They're playing this interim word, right? So what does that necessarily mean? Is that just wordplay saying, hey, you're going to be here temporarily, right? Or they want everybody to think he's temporarily, or what's going to happen with that, right? Is he going to be put in there permanently? Because who really knows what's going on the inside with them? Like, are they in the transition? Are they panicking? Do they have another play at hand? Probably they have another play at hand, because there's all these talks right now of California masking up again, right? You're not really hearing too much about it either, which I find kind of uniquely odd, especially for California. One of the other interesting things that go right on to the World Economic Forum, you'll see it right on their webpage. Everything they talk about is energy, right? And EI. So what does that mean with energy and AI, right? Could it be now a way to control certain things, to control the grid, to control where power goes? But there's one point on here where I don't think anybody's really talking about. I heard one other person say it. I forget who said it on a podcast I was listening to, but India's brought up here. And India is kind of like a neutral player right now. Okay. And why is India important? I think one of the things or reasons why it's important, it's the second largest country in terms of population in the world, right? Right behind China. And then you have us. But China and India are huge compared to even us, right? What are we at? About 350 million. China's 1.6 billion. I'm sure I'm off, but India's not far behind from that. They're over a billion. They even have it right on here. India could become the third largest economy in the world this year. Yep. Why is that? Why all of a sudden is India popping up to be a player? Some people say it's because of the tariffs in China, right? Coming to the US. So now everything's going to move to India. Is it because these guys have some other type of play to entice India? India's like, look at it from the sports world, right? India's like a free agent right now. So it's who's going to have the best interest in India, right? To bring them on board. And those are kind of some of the things that I don't think anybody's really talking about when it
Well,
comes to what are you hearing on that? I know you're just
well,
going to
no, I don't think really India. I don't know. I haven't read into that, right? So obviously, BRICS it really wants to lock up India because that'll really hurt the U.S. And the only way to actually bring in the one world government, which is what they're trying to do, guys, that's the ultimate goal here is a one world government where they control everything and we own nothing and like it. That's literally their slogan. All right. Is they have to cripple the US to such a point where it would make sense for us to want to get into this one world government. Right. And we can't let that happen. But the other part of this is like they tried with climate change. People realize that that is a hoax. Okay. That is not true. Okay. And 90% of people want a clean environment. Like when I do my outdoor workout, if I'm rucking, right, I actually bring a bag for garbage and I pick shit up. Everybody wants a clean environment. But the fact that they try to say that cow farts are causing us to global warming is bullshit. And everyone's debunked these things 100 times over. Okay, so their next big play here, and they say it and they talk about it on videos. You can find those on X. Is water rights and access to water. Okay, because if you control water, you control food. If you control water and food, you control the people. All right, and it's pretty easy to see like what their plan is. And by the way, guys, like I said, they talk about it openly. If you just look at any of the World Economic Forum meetings, they actually will show you those videos. Okay, but nobody actually looks up because they're too busy being in the trees and not looking out at the forest. And the only reason I'm bringing this stuff up to you guys, I'm not trying to convince you because I'm sure that if you're hearing this for the first time, it might sound a little crazy, a little far fetched. You can't imagine that there's that type of evil in the world. However, there is. And if we don't address it and address it soon, it will be too late. Because right now, there's a lot more of us than there are of them. And as soon as we all figure it out, get along, and figure out who's really making these problems for us, the less likely their plans are to succeed. Right. And so like if you look, my Facebook, anytime I've ever talked about this stuff, it's throttled down. All right. So do your own research. We will bring this up sporadically, so I'm not permanently shadow banned. All right. But I think this is a really good starting point. You know, Dave, you got anything else to add or?
Yeah, I mean, I won't worry about the algorithm, man. It's not going to pick up your new look. You know what I mean? So
Oh yeah.
don't overlook that. You might be safe for the next 30 days at least. But guys, I mean, think about it this way, right? Like, am I like take it from me personally, right? Like, am I as deep in this hole as probably I should be? Probably not. Maybe definitely not. But for me, even better than most people, right? And I'm not saying like I'm some freaking world news guru, right? But better than most. And I'll tell you one of the things from 2019 to where I used to think, you know, when you started hearing these things right before COVID, yeah, that's crazy. That shit's never going to happen. No freaking way, right? And then all of a sudden it happens. And then you start hearing other talking points. You start putting together certain pieces and you're like, holy shit, man, like this all makes sense. When you start backtracking and putting certain pieces together, man, it's all going to make sense. And you know what? One of the crazy things is here, Jonathan just talked about the water, and somebody posted it locally in a local community. Like, I don't know, man, but my water has been gross, like brown as shit for like probably the last week. And I don't drink my own water here anyway. If I do, it's either filtered out. And, you know, I'm looking to get a filtration system in my house, but now other people are noticing. And that's good and bad, right? Like it was a talk yesterday. It's like, hey, is anybody?
Dude, here, I'll give you an example of this water thing. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you good.
There was a lot of protests and a lot of opposition to them spraying Daiquat in the Connecticut water systems, right? And they did it, and they did it early, and they didn't think anyone caught it, but they caught the video. Everyone on it is full hazmat suit, okay, that's spraying. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, nothing's going to happen. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Well, guess what? It wasn't fine. Almost everything died there. Now, that water leads into like the water base between Long Island and Connecticut and the ocean.
Mm.
Okay. And this is the shit that they're doing. So it's much harder to get us access to water. And so they are going after water rights. COVID was just a test, guys. All right. And by the way, Bill Gates wanted those vaccines rolled out, that mRNA, and they have serious repercussions. Like a lot of people died, and a lot of people are getting very, very sick because of it. And it was intentional. And if you read into any of the World Economic Forum, I don't know if they scrubbed it or not. They also had this, they laid this out a year or two, potentially more, before it actually happened. They talked about the Great Reset, and they talked about and Agenda 2030. So look into the Great Reset, look into Agenda 2030, and then look into what they said prior to the pandemic. They said it was going to happen. Well, they knew it was going to happen because those motherfuckers did it. Okay. They made it in a lab and they released it. And then they sold us a poison vaccine, okay, to start their depopulation shit. All right. These are some of the most evil people on the planet, guys.
There's a lot of people close to me like that are kind of sick right now, and that shouldn't be. You know what I mean? And it does bother me. And there's a couple conversations, have always led back to one thing, and that's the thing that you're talking about right now. And these are healthy people, and these are people that are young, that are athletic, that are in shape. And then you look all over the world, man. There's people either dying young or getting cancer relatively early.
What about all the athletes that dropped dead, dude? Okay,
it's insane.
Or the so still, but
yeah,
dude, like this is, and here's the thing: I don't fault anybody for doing it. Like everywhere you look, there was a death count on TV, right? And that death count was fabricated. Like everybody colluded at the top to do this, to put this information out and create this false narrative that wasn't there. Okay. It is legitimately some of the most evil shit. Okay. And we cannot thrive in a society when you have people at the top doing this that do not face any level of accountability. It just will not happen because they will do it again and again and again. And so all the people that were associated are still walking around freely. And I'm going to tell you something. The fact that Bill Gates had a meeting with Trump and Zuckerberg, like if that's truly what it is on surface level, I would be 100% done with that guy, dude. Okay, like next, and I don't think Vance is any better because Vance is best buddies with Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel, when you look into him, he's another one. All right, and so what I'm saying to you guys is you got to do a little bit of research instead of doom scrolling on your phone or instead of just perusing through Facebook. Educate yourselves just a little bit. All right. And look into this. I don't want you to take what I'm saying for face value. Do your own research. All right. And then come to make a decision. If you guys have questions, come ask me. I have no problem talking about this. All right. But look, it is what it is. All right. Do that. And then hopefully we can have some more conversations about it in the future and actually get enough people aware of what's going on so this shit can stop. Because it needs to stop. Because you know what, dude? I got to tell you something. I got 3 kids. They are my world. Okay. I don't want to leave them in a situation that they're unprepared for, and with this type of evil around. So, all right. That's enough for me. I'm going to get off my fucking soapbox. Hope you guys like the Mr. Clean look because it's staying. And I'll catch you guys on Financial Fitness Friday, where we will actually talk about business financing or other types of financing to help you build wealth. Take care. Appreciate you guys. Share this. Please share this one.
Be great, y'all.